you say YouTube or you porn?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to be
They're
clear.
both free.
This is YouTube.
They're
right?
both both free.
Yeah.
For some reason, every time we bring people back here, they just assume we're doing porn.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on back here? Porn? I was like, all right, hello, wine drinking people. Welcome for a special edition of Wine Watch Television. We've got Dave Phinney here, and we're talking about his newest venture in the wine world, Locations. And, you know, I've said this is either the biggest scam I've ever come across in the wine business or the most ingenious idea that anyone has ever had, Dave. So the whole preconceived notion that you need to put a vintage and a varietal on a bottle, I think it's, you know, for most people that love fine wine, I look at that and I say, well, how would you sell this in a fine wine market without a vintage and a varietal on it? But the wines taste good. Yeah. That's the most important thing when I open a bottle of wine up. I don't care about what the label looks like. I don't care about, you know, what's in it. The most important thing is it pleasing to drink? So
the idea behind these wines is to make the best possible wine you can without any appellation constraints, vintage constraints, basically any constraints.
After tasting the wines, you know, I like to taste them twice. I like to open them up and I'll taste them, and then I taste them the next morning. To me, that's the sign of a well-made wine, and your wines pass the test of the next morning.
Awesome.
So I didn't like them that much when I opened them up. I was trying to figure out, you know, because to me, wine is about a sense of place. You know, where the grapes come from play a big part in what the wine is in the glass. And well, for the latter three wines here, you haven't given us any indication as to where they're from. Well, other than the country, F, meaning France. So anywhere in France, could be any varietal, could be any vintage, because there's no vintage on the bottle either.
Correct.
All right. So E may be the only one for people to figure out, because most of us would say S for Spain.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah,
I guess if you want an international brand, you would have to put E on that.
Oh, yeah, it's not Estonia.
How long did it take you to come up with this blend? How many people were involved when putting this together?
Oh, this is years. Like, years. I went out, most of these take about 2 years of R&D, so to speak. So we'll go out.
So it doesn't taste like something you just threw together,
no.
You know, which is what it sounds like when you listen to where all the grapes come from. So you met all these people in the different parts of Spain, growers, and you talked to them about this idea, and they thought it was, wow, that's intriguing. Let's try it, and then.
I wouldn't say they said this is intriguing. They were kind of like, what the hell are you doing?
The hell are you doing? Okay. The same thing I said when I heard about it.
Well, I think in the best way to you know, the proof's in the pudding, and I think when they saw us coming back year after year after year, we're like, wow, these guys are serious, and you know, and we paid on time, which is important.
In Spain, especially.
Yeah, especially. Yeah. But the other thing is, and the way I always sum it up is, for the first vintage of Spain, I went back to Spain 8 times over 6 months to get the final blend done. So none of these, I've never made a blend in the States. Every time we make a blend, it's made usually in Barcelona, which is our hub.
The E almost has this kind of rustic, almost sun-dried quality to the fruit.
Yeah, it's pretty ripe. And so the Spanish wine is probably the most diverse. You know, Spain is like a breadbasket for winemakers. We sourced Grenache and Syrah from Priorat, Grenache and Tempranillo from Rioja, Tempranillo from Ribera, Grenache and Carignan from Toro, Carignan from Carignana, Morvedra or Mataro from Jumilla.
Now the Italian one is my favorite. You know, Lampisoni, maybe it has something to do with the family heritage, but to me this wine just seemed to have a longer finish than the other wines, and a little better structured.
Very structured.
Yeah. So you got Aglianico in here from the south. You got Nebbiolo, Barbera.
It's got Barbera and Dolcetto from Alba. A little bit of Sangiovese.
Just said one of the words I'm not crazy about. I don't even notice the Dolcetto.
Oh no, it's just a tiny bit. It's just just to say it's in there, but. No, actually the Dolcetto was really nice. And Sangiovese from just outside of San Gimignano. And the lion's share of it is Negro Maro, Nero d'Avola, and some other sort of native varietals from Tornicello, which is in Apulia, so just outside of Brindisi.
This wine actually has some grip on your palate. It's got a little tannin at the end, and you know it has enough fruit to carry through. This is the only one that's actually, to me, a little easier to understand and put your arms around because it's one varietal.
Yeah, Vermentino
from one place.
Exactly. Yeah, Vermentino from Corsica, and we chose not to use the traditional labels that we had been using.
Because you're telling people what this is, actually.
Exactly.
Is there a vintage on it?
There isn't, and there very well could have been. That's 2012.
Oh, we stumped them almost.
So the French one, it's mainly Grenache from the Roussillon. Part of it is made at our winery there, and also at the Co-op in Maury, where our winery is located. And then we have some friends up in Provence and in Côte d'Rhone that we source Grenache and Syrah from, and a little bit of Syrah from Provence, and actually a tiny little bit of Grenache from Provence as well, and then some Cabernet Franc from Bordeaux.
Okay, I was going to say, you're leaving the door open, you can always go to Bordeaux, but you put
Yeah.
Cabernet Franc from Bordeaux in this.
Which is totally not, I'm not usually a big fan of Cabernet Franc, and we sort of scoured Bordeaux, assuming we were going to probably buy Cabernet. It's a Grenache Syrah Cabernet blend, sort of makes sense. And the best wine we kept coming back to was Cabernet Franc, which really surprised me.
And it's a nice floral note to wines, and
Yeah.
it's got a good got a good structure to it. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dave, thank you very much. These are
thank you.
some exciting new wines. Check them out. Locations we got them here at the Wine Watch, and I'm sure you can find them all over the place, all over the United States, all over the world. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. And always remember, drink the good stuff first.